Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're back for the latest edition of the Best Dota 2 podcast. It's been a month or two, honestly. It's been a while.
It feels like.
Oh, and immediately your microphone is nice and crackly.
Of course it is. I'll be right back.
Yeah, so once again, we're back. I'm here. You just saw MTarget. He'll be back momentarily. And we are here to discuss the most recent Dota 2 news, primarily the Dreamleague Minor results, as well as a short preview of the Kuala Lumpur Major. And in between there, we're going to touch on a lot of the different random small things that we didn't talk about in the last couple months. So we're going to do some nice rapid fire action to just talk about as much as we possibly can subject-wise. And let's hear you again to make sure that everything sounds good.
Better, hopefully.
Yeah, it sounds better. Awesome. Okay. So
I usually need to switch to the new microphone, but the thing is, it's the exact same mic. It's, only going to help the fact that this one is old and a little beat up.
I mean, aren't we all?
This is very true.
I mean, I'm definitely old and beat up. Man, it's the winter here, like officially now. Like it's staying cold regularly, and I feel it in my bones. It doesn't help that my birthday was 2 weeks ago. Thanks for sending me greetings, by the way. But yeah, he didn't send me greetings, by the way.
Mail, you know how that mail service is between the U.S. and Canada.
What province do I live in?
Wait, I know this. I don't remember.
Okay, so we're gonna cut out the fact that he forgot my birthday and discuss the Dreamleague Minor, aka Dreamleague Season 10, wrapped up earlier today. Really solid tournament.
No, you don't. Yes, you do. No.
Yeah, it's Alberta. Good job.
Okay. Yeah, because you live near-ish Edmonton and Calgary. Yeah.
So, Dreamleague Season 10, first Dota Pro Circuit event of the 2018-2019 season. $300,000 prize pool, and $500.
Woohoo!
$300.
Dota 1, boys.
Yeah, and 500 Dota Pro Circuit points on the line. Tournament was ultimately won by Tigers, formerly the TNC Tigers. You may or may not remember us discussing them on our last installment, helmed by Theban/1437/Rose. For the most part, it's a Southeast Asian stack, but also has plenty of representation in the form of, again, 1437, as well as former Digital Chaos offlaner Moon Meander. General veterans with, I'd say, just more pure talent.
He's a former everything, let's be honest here.
Yeah, he's kind of a journeyman in a good way. A journeyman in a good way in that he's been able to stick around kind of way. But yeah, Southeast Asian team. I would say the better pure talent are the Southeast Asian players around them. But anyway, they won, which gets them a spot in the Kuala Lumpur Major, which is a pretty big deal. They also take home 120 Dota Pro Circuit points, which officially, for the moment, puts them in first place. Second place was, surprisingly, Na'Vi. They blew up their lineup, got rid of Dendi, and it kind of paid off to this point. They don't actually get into the Kuala Lumpur Major, but they do get $70,000, 100 Dota Pro Circuit points, and I guess some momentum heading into whatever tournament they go into next. There are plenty of options available to them, and there are plenty of tournaments going on both in or out of the Dota Pro Circuit, and I'm going to get back into that not long after. Third place was Royal Never Give Up, the Chinese qualifier team, also with a little bit of a Southeast Asian twist. Monet, Afu, XY, familiar names. Third place. And we'll talk about them a little bit more later. Fourth place, again, surprisingly, Infamous.
Hey.
I mean...
Don't tell me surprisingly here.
Okay.
I mean, yes, I caveated the hell out of them. I didn't expect them to do this well at this minor, but...
I mean, I'm not going to hate on South America as much, but...
Yes! We're good! That's all I needed.
But I would also say that they're probably like the fourth or fifth best South American team.
I agree with that 100%.
And I would say that they're...
Maybe, but yeah.
Yeah, at best they're third, behind the two Pain teams. So for them to do this well. I mean, it's surprising.
Yeah.
And the teams that end up in the bottom half were probably the strongest on paper teams heading into this event. Complexity Gaming and Vega Squadron. Vega Squadron being Team Lithium, which is the maybe next time Madara, Kezu, European journeyman stack.
At the same time, that's a dream stack until they get to tournaments. So
yeah, basically. But they ended up in 5th, 6th, and Runes and Final Tribe. More so, surprisingly, for Final Tribe, end up in 7th and 8th. And that's the premier Swedish team at the moment, given that Alliance is no longer actually that Swedish.
Or that premier sometimes.
Well, they're doing well. We'll talk about that later. But they end up in last place alongside Runes. And yeah, any specific thoughts about this tournament? I mean, like I said, I don't think that many people would have predicted that top 4 and that bottom 4 with any kind of regularity.
Yeah, no, I agree with that for the most part. I think, like, if you had told me... Hang on, I need to pull up the results on my screen here, just because I don't want to, like, mess it up.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is that Tigers looked pretty darn good. They didn't look bulletproof, but they beat Na'Vi twice. They beat Royal Never Give Up. They end up just really looking pretty darn good.
If you had told me Na'Vi, Royal Never Give Up, and Tigers were in the top 4, okay, I can see that. I can see that at any given minor. Hell, if you had told me Infamous made top 4, I'd be like, okay, maybe they,
Yeah.
Although if you had told me, Complexity, that's...
Yeah, Complexity...
Vega, I've just learned to not expect anything from at a tournament. I don't know what it is about that brand, because I know that that's not even like that much of last year's Vega Squadron in terms of the roster.
Well, it's not at all.
But I'm just saying in terms of, like, I have learned to expect Vega Squadron equal kill at tournament events. Like, as soon as they hit land, it's like...
Yeah. They look great in qualifiers.
Yeah.
Look great in qualifiers.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, Tigers taking it, definitely surprising. I could have seen them taking second. Na'Vi taking second. Second, third. RNG, I kind of expected to see them in the top 4, just because, like, of the Chinese teams that were there, I mean, there's only 8 teams, so there's only one Chinese team. It's China. Like, I think China's going to look dope as hell this year. And at every major, it's what Chinese teams do you expect to see in the top 3? Because if a top 3 doesn't have China, something's probably wrong.
Yeah, and should note that in order to qualify for the Dreamleague Minor, Royal Never Give Up did have to get through eHome, but Newbie and Team Serenity, that's some competition. So, I mean, the biggest news for me would be the flop that it was Complexity, because you look at that lineup of Complexity, Z-Freak, it had potential, I would say. Z-Freak, Eternal Envy, Snaking, Limp, Skem. It's a solid lineup.
Oh, very solid.
Those are players who have had success in the past.
Yeah, I will say, because
not the best way to start their season.
I will say, as somebody who I wasn't able to watch a whole lot of the tournament, so I missed. I mean, they went 2-0, 4-0 in group, so they won both of their best of 2s. Straight up, just 2-0, 2-0. And then they went 2-1 to RNG. Okay, they lost to the third, and they went 2-1. They went the full 3-game series here, and they kind of got outdrafted. Last pick Huskar into a team that just really has to go late game. I missed that one, but just looking at analysis post after the fact, I did, however, catch the infamous Complexity series.
Yeah,
it went. Infamous held them for 41 minutes game 1. Then Infamous dragged it out in a 63-minute slugfest that was just really anybody's game. Some small mistakes lost the game for Complexity, so Infamous takes it. And then again in game 3, 52-minute, another crazy-ass slugfest. In that one, Complexity messed up their early game. They didn't, implement where they need to. They let an Arc Warden get online. So, take the but just in terms of like those two series, they did look pretty good. It's not like Vega Squadron who got 2-0'd by Na'Vi, or Infamous getting drummed by Na'Vi the next series. Didn't look too great either. But Complexity, like if you look at the number, 5th, 6th, yeah, that doesn't look too good. But when you look at like the two series that they lost,
you gotta give them a mulligan for that one. Long story short,
I'll give them a half a mulligan. I'll say, look, you guys need to be careful here, but I'm not gonna throw you out yet. It's that, like, I'm gonna give you a warning for the next one. Don't panic. But a full mulligan would be like if you played like Team Liquid in the first round at TI, and then played, I don't know, somebody in the lower bracket who was just, actually no, you played like Newbie in the upper bracket and then Liquid in the lower bracket.
Yeah. So between those top two teams, because really, it's a big deal that Tigers won, because they do get that spot in the Kuala Lumpur Major, and that offers the opportunity for a load of Dota Pro Circuit qualifying points, and that's really important. But the finals could have ended up going either way. It did go out. It did go all 5 games. All 5 were pretty competitive. It was a toss up at the start of each match. It was never one of those situations where, it was a matter of, it wasn't ever throws. It was a very competitive, fun series to watch, and it could have gone either way. So between Tigers and Na'Vi, who do you think has more upside throughout the rest of the season? Because if I'm gonna do a football analogy, this is like week 3, maybe
like week 2, quite frankly.
But
this is week 2 where all of the like super good teams are also on their bye week. So
yeah,
and that's my one concern is like. This is like in a college football analogy, this is like Notre Dame beating up on Northwestern yesterday. Like everybody's like, see, look, Notre Dame's undefeated. And you go, yeah, but look at their strength of schedule.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not bashing the teams that are at the minor, but just think about that.
They're at the minor.
Yeah, minor, not major. Now, Tigers have a chance to prove themselves here. That's huge. And if you can do well there, great. The problem is that at a minor, second place doesn't get shit, $70,000, etc. But it's not like it's
you get 100 Dota Pro Circuit qualifying points though.
This is true. Okay,
they're second place in the Dota Pro Circuit standings now. But no,
yeah, what a week.
Yeah, until they end up buried behind the top 8 of the major.
Yeah,
but yeah, so. Answer the question, though. Who's got a higher ceiling long-term, Tigers or Na'Vi?
Higher ceiling long-term?
Yeah.
Na'Vi, but that's like the next 2 years. I see Tigers doing better in the next 6 months.
Okay.
Na'Vi's just, one, they are in a brutal-ass region.
That's true. The CIS region is very competitive right now.
2, I think that Tigers still have Southeast Asia's number. I don't think that they're going to be number 1 in Southeast Asia, but I think they're going to have a better chance of, worst comes to worst, you bump down to the minor, you play through the minor, you go to the major, because they're that.
Yeah. So
bridesmaid almost kind of thing where you're in the door, but you're just not getting married.
Okay. Yeah. Not really a VG Gaming kind of team, because VG Gaming loses in the finals of majors. But
VG Gaming loses in the group stage of majors sometimes.
True. But they also do make it to the grand final sometimes and then lose.
True. And then lose.
they don't always lose quickly, but they do lose. We love you though, VG Gaming. You're doing better than the vast majority of teams. So between Complexity Gaming and Vega Squadron, because again, those are teams that could hypothetically do quite well and also could realistically do quite poorly.
Yep.
Which one do you think can actually turn things around in a long-term way?
I think Na'Vi is in the region that is going to force them to do better long term.
Between Complexity and Vega Squadron, though.
Oh, I'm sorry. I my brain shorted there. Complexity.
Okay. You think Complexity has the higher ceiling long term?
Complexity shook things up enough um to give themselves a better chance, but still maintained the structure behind the scenes to support them, and that structure that we know works. Because in the past, we've, for the most part, never been like, oh, Complexity's problem is in their prep, in their coaches, and their whatever. It's mostly an execution in one way or another. Not in like a, oh, this is why they're bad, but in a like, the team would often just not quite mesh come land time for whatever reason. They'd go a little cold. Vegas Squadron, on the other hand, they threw everything out the window. And that's going to take a lot to come back from. And again, they're in CIS. And CIS is so much deeper than
this
NA.
Vegas Squadron is actually in EU.
Is it in EU? I thought they were competing in CIS.
Nope, they signed Team Lithium, and they are, at least they have to this point, expressed that they're going to compete in EU, which I would also contend is a very, very competitive region.
Oh, EU is definitely competitive. Oh, you're a qualifier. My bad. It is, but it's not quite. Either way, my concern is that Vegas Squadron is going to get ground down a little bit, and at least one, if not two, players are going to get picked off. It's just going to be, as soon as a transfer window opens up somewhere, somebody's going to get slipped away, and it's gone. So, I mean, realistically, I don't see Kezu being on a non-top 8 team for the rest of the season, for the rest of the DPC. By halfway through DPC, whatever that is, March or April, or I guess really like February, if Kezu is not on a top 8 team, I'll be incredibly surprised. And I do mean like top 8 in DPC points.
Yeah. I mean, with the way that the rules are structured now, there definitely is more opportunity. Because there's only 5 majors, there is more opportunity for a team to bring in a new player in anticipation of having it pay off immediately. Like, you can get rid of a guy, you'll lose 20% of your Dota's Pro Circuit points, but you'll be able to make it back up and not have to worry too much about somebody creeping up over you the way you did with last year's points format.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Kezu, if Vegas Squadron ends up gelling into a great team, because we have seen Madar and maybe next time and Kezu all in high spots in big tournaments, being Boston Major for the 2 ex-Adfin players, and also Kezu, he was on a pretty good version of Team Secret.
Yeah,
they've been in big spots before, so they could hypothetically click and then just be off to the races. But like you said, they could also just not. And then when at that point, Kezu is probably the guy who is most plug and playable for other high level teams.
Man, I used to. I would wake up and I would turn on Kezu's stream on my phone, and I would go about my day just listening to Kezu play offlane. Because when he streams, he just stream of consciences everything. And he walks through, this is why I need to do this. This is why I need to do this. This is where this needs to happen. Okay, this didn't happen. How do I make this better? And the fact that you can just watch a guy and see how he thinks makes it so much easier to plug and play him. And the dude seems not super tiltable.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't seen him compete in a tournament in terms of like how does he behave in tournament, between a bunch of games, but he does not strike me as an incredibly tilting player. Bertuzzi, looking at you.
I mean, he should note that he did have a very hot potato 2018. Ended up starting the year with Mad Lads, then onto 5 Dogs, then onto Blinkpool, then onto Team Lithium, and then that ended up being the current Vegas Squadron. So, granted, that doesn't mean that he is
if I remember correctly, a lot of those teams got like 2 or 3 players got poached by a bigger tier 2 or a tier 1 team, and then because it was one of those things where things just kept getting pulled because they were
Yeah.
stacks. So, yeah.
Yeah, Mad Lads and Five Dogs, and all of them kind of flowed into each other on top of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is a good thing to a degree. But, anyways.
Yeah, essentially.
Enough talking about Kazu.
Yeah. So, any other just thoughts about Dreamleague Minor? Because that's pretty much
do we want to talk about the announcement at Dreamleague Minor?
Which announcement?
The other Dreamleague announcement?
No, yeah, may as well.
Okay, so Dreamleague Major was announced. Congrats, Dreamleague. I think they deserve it, but
yeah, it's going to be a Dota Pro Circuit Major.
Yeah, and it's going to be in Sweden, and it's going to be great. But yes. I'm a little bummed because I would love to see Dreamleague take place in the U.S. again. But I mean, that didn't do super well, so I understand why it's not going to.
Yeah, it's going to take place it's also being called the Stockholm Major, as you can gather. It's going to take place in Sweden. Going to be fairly standard Dota Pro Circuit, fairly fair. $1 million prize pool, 15,000 Dota Pro Circuit points. Top prize $350,000 and 4,950 DPC points, and on down to 170,000, 100,000, etc. The qualifiers going to kick off in, I believe, February.
Yep.
So that's something to mark on your calendars. And if you are a European listener, something to maybe look into, because it's going to be probably the best tournament you're going to have in Europe this year. For Dota 2, at least.
The only one that I would say might also be up there would be ESL1 Katowice, but that's kind of a unique thing anyways, and it's not going to be DPC, so if you don't care about that, then so be it.
Yep.
But
going on to round number 2 now, though, because we could keep rambling about nonsense.
That all day.
Yeah. So, round number 2, we're going to do rapid fire. Once again, we are going to quickly go over some of the various news things that happened while we are on a quote-unquote hiatus.
And a lot of these things are things that, because I've been so busy working, I have totally missed. So you guys are going to get a lot of my first takes or maybe second take. So like I may have skimmed over it before, but I'll give basically my reaction that I had then if I already, knew about it.
Yeah, so we're going to go in order of importance, basically. Not necessarily in chronological order, but fair bit to talk about. And we're going to start now with ESL. As you mentioned, we've got ESL Katowice going to take place in, I believe, January. We just had ESL 1 Frankfurt happen.
Hamburg.
ESL 1 Hamburg, you're right. But both were not Dota Pro Circuit events, which makes you wonder if ESL 1 and ESL as a whole might just be done doing the whole Dota Pro Circuit thing. If that's the case, how bad is that for the DPC and for fans in general, in your estimation?
For fans in general, not bad at all. We saw it do perfectly fine in terms of numbers, so that's not a concern. And viewership, etc. And I think that the tournament went pretty well in terms of level of competitive play. As for how bad it is for the DPC, I mean, Valve's only putting on 5 events, so I don't think they're too concerned. As long as they can continue to keep PGL, Dreamleague, Chinese organizer,
Perfect World.
Yeah, Perfect World, or somebody else. I mean, it's China. Tencent could come in and say, you know what, we want to put on an event.
Yeah,
it's Tencent. They can do whatever they want. Or the other thing is, it's possible that actually Katowice would. What's the dates on that again?
Time-wise, it wouldn't work.
Okay, I was gonna say maybe it, but
it's not getting turned into a major.
Yeah.
The big concern for me is that we have seen so many different tournaments get blown up one way or the other. Galaxy Battles is the best example, but on top of that, we're gonna be talking about the upcoming Kuala Lumpur Major, which has its own set of issues. You don't usually get that kind of drama as much with ESL, and I think that avoiding that kind of silly drama, it's a good thing. And I think that kind of downgrading from ESL to other tournament organizers does hurt. So on that note, Kuala Lumpur Major, we had a little bit of a news story today with 33 from Ninjas in Pajamas being kind of forced out of the tournament due to visa issues. And the visa issues are not your normal visa issues because 33 is Israeli. And long story short, Malaysia refuses to have any kind of diplomatic relations with Israel. As such, you basically, according to Reddit / other random takes on it, you would have to basically get the prime minister to personally let you in, which I would imagine. I imagine he's got more important things to do than micromanage Dota 2 tournaments in his country. So with that in mind, PPD reached out to Valve through Twitter to basically say, hey, it's kind of bullshit that we have to take a 40% Dota Pro Circuit qualifying point hit because we have to play with a sub. So what's your take on that? And just,
Yeah. So I think both sides are legit here. I think that Valve made the rules and said, you guys choose to sub somebody in for whatever reason, we are going to penalize you for not playing with your core roster. Okay, if team, because what that does is that prevents, me from going, oh, hey, look, Fear just got kicked off his team. I want to play, I want Fear. Let's go. And just grabbing him and plugging him in. Or, Miracle got kicked off. Or say Thompson had a falling out with OG. You can't just magically, juke things and beat the system. But as far as PPD is concerned, when you get screwed by visa issues, it's very legit to say this isn't our fault. But then, does Valve, what about like if you have a sixth player, if you have a coach that can fill in and you shuffle around, does that count as a sub? Or again, I haven't read the rules in detail because I don't think they're public, but like the nitty gritty rules. But I feel like if, especially due to something like visa issues, it shouldn't be as big of a deal. But then you also have to make sure that like Valve sees that you did, in fact, in good faith, try to get the visa issues resolved. Otherwise, you just play the visa issues card and you're back to cheating the system.
Okay. Some big news just dropped, and I will be handling that for the next weekend. That's not going to be fun. Floyd Mayweather is going to be fighting Tenshin Nasukawa in a probable boxing match, and that's crazy.
Come on, knock Mayweather's ass out, please.
He's not going to.
I can hope.
Unless it's a kickboxing match, in which case he probably will.
I'm a huge hater of Floyd Mayweather. So.
You should be. Anyway,
as everyone should be.
Yeah. So earlier today, 343 was kicked off of Royal Never Give Up. We mentioned them playing in the Dreamleague Minor. They came in third place, which is a pretty solid all-around performance. And they kicked out 343 the next day due to, quote, communication issues. Where does that stack on the all-time, yep, that's Dota 2 kind of roster move? Like, can you think of anything wackier than that?
AUI getting kicked.
That's a good one.
Oh, no, the Team Secret EG juggles.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
Especially the I mean, either the Arteezies or the one where Universe went with him. Those were great. I don't know. I mean, it's possible that they wanted to get rid of him for whatever reason. Again, if I had watched the tournament, like I could comment on whether or not I thought that he underperformed. Because communication issues means one of two things. Either one, they legitimately wanted to speak in a language that he didn't speak. Because remember, he is not a native U.S. citizen. He was born in Sri Lanka. So he does not just speak English, if I remember correctly. So maybe he, I don't know. I know that he is at least bilingual. So, I don't know. Anyways, Theban has had a hard time staying on teams lately, so or really ever. So there's that. But
No, 3-4-3.
oh wait, isn't 3-4-3 Theban?
No, that's 1-4-3-7.
Shit, I'm an idiot.
Ooh.
Okay, take back about 90% of that. 3-4-3. 3-4-3.
3-4-3. He was on Complexity last year.
Okay, 3-4-3. Okay, in that case, my argument. Oh, because he was also okay. I got you now. I'm here. 3-4-3. Then we're just gonna go with the communication issues mean that he either doesn't calm well in game or they just wanted to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Wow, I just totally flubbed that one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. So WESG is starting up. Do you care?
No.
Mm.
Well, here's the thing. Part of the reason that I don't care is because I'm somebody who has so little time to devote to Dota right now. Like I'm legit. I'm super busy working. I'm busy trying to look for a new job because my current job doesn't pay that well, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't have a whole lot of time for gaming and esports right now, which sucks, which means that I really have to meter what I watch. A friend of mine was playing in the Canadian qualifiers. He played at the WESG Canadian LAN this past weekend or whenever that was. They went 0-2 on LAN, so I kind of was like, okay, cool, moving on to the next event. Because there's just a lot going on. Kuala Lumpur Major starts November 9th, so I've got that to look forward to. You know, I don't know. I don't have a huge need to pay attention to WESG right now. As great as WESG can be to watch, like if I have the time to sit down and watch it during the event, cool.
Yeah. So this is going to end up being kind of, let's just rapid fire through the Kuala Lumpur Major because I've got important real life shit to do now.
Yep.
We might want to just re-record this tomorrow too because
I don't work tomorrow, so I'm fine with that.
Okay. I feel like we got some good content, but fucking Floyd Mayweather versus Tenshin Nasukawa. What like? Okay, Tenshin Nasukawa is. I sat down with him earlier this year in Tokyo, or actually in Chiba.
Nice.
Yeah. Extraordinarily charismatic. He's got that kind of young energy that gets beaten out of you with time. But so and he's still got that thing going on, and we've discussed it in Dota, but it applies to all forms of athletics where you're young, especially with like where you get an age range in athletics with like Olympics and gymnastics is a great example with, you know, it's the youngsters that have that bulletproof mentality. They're just like mentally invincible.
Yeah.
And he's got that going on, and he's going to motherfucking fight Floyd Mayweather. What? Also, Floyd Mayweather is fighting. Where did this come from?
A very big paycheck.
But the thing is, he's doing it in conjunction with Ryzen FF, which is a Japanese MMA promotion. So it's like,
so are we gonna see like a half boxing, half kickboxing? I mean, I am 100% down to see Floyd Mayweather get the shit kicked out of him. So
he's gonna smoke him if it's a boxing match, but
I know
Nasukawa would smoke him if it's a kickboxing match in all likelihood.
Let's go judo. Let's just make him grapple.
Well, no, Nasukawa can't grapple for shit.
That's the point. Actually, no, because Mayweather definitely can grapple. Anyways,
no, he can't.
Well,
he's a boxer.
I mean, if by hugging the other guy and going counts as grappling.
I mean, okay, there's this weird. A lot of people have been victims of this idea that Floyd Mayweather is a boring boxer, and he's actually really not. He had like
no, he's very technically good, and he's very defensive. But
no, even his like he knocked out Oscar De La Hoya. He knocked out pretty much everybody. He had like 2 boring fights. One against Pacquiao, and then the second one against Marcos Maidana. But for the most part, he's a pretty darn exciting fighter. Like by far,
I've not watched a whole lot of his stuff, but that's also because
I've watched all of it.
Yeah, well, for me, part of it was I didn't really get into understanding who Mayweather was until like after the domestic abuse stuff. So I was like, why do I want to watch his stuff? But
but no, he is yeah. There's a lot of weird misinformation about him that a lot of people are victims of, and he is an exciting boxer. But Jesus Christ, what a vile human being! Truly vile, like legitimately evil. And I'm not going to throw that label onto a lot of people. Because, like, you know, some people are just like I wouldn't necessarily like say like Trump is actually evil, but he's bad in a bunch of other ways. I wouldn't say he's evil. He's
people
just
around Trump are definitely evil, but
yeah, people around him. I wouldn't say that he personally is necessarily evil. He's just like delusional, which
he's just a racist idiot.
He's a delusional racist idiot, and I wouldn't necessarily say that he is evil, but he is a delusional racist idiot. Floyd Mayweather is evil. Also kind of racist. Like he's said some really gross things about Asians. And now he's fighting in Japan.
Hey, so he might not even make it to the ring.
No, he'll make it to the ring. But anyway, okay, Kuala Lumpur Major, whatever. Let's just wrap this because I actually need to go to work. Yeah, this is big news. I gotta like call up my editor and hope he's online because he's one of those fuckers who works 6 days a week instead of 7 like me.
All right. Go to work. Right. Go do that. We'll re-record tomorrow with everything else.
And then I'll pitch this to editors.
Sounds good.
And we'll hopefully be making that
that esports like pennies. All right, man.
Okay. See you.